You know, my best friend and I ask each other one question. If you were stuck on a desert island, what would you rather have? The entirety of The Simpsons or the 6 episodes from the short-lived Clerks the Animated Series? And believe me when I say, that discussion can wage years. We're still having it to this day. And the reason why that's important has everything to do with the fact that Kevin Smith is currently looking to get the Clerks animated show back on television. And I cannot stress this enough. It needs to happen. I've been a big fan of this show since 2000 when the first episode aired. I watched it on ABC. I loved it. And the next week, I had to fly back home to Oregon in order to watch my friends graduate. So I asked my mom, "Hey mom, can you please do me a solid and record the Clerks animated series?" I think it was Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. over there on the ABC. And she was like, "Sure." And you know what? She forgot. And then a week later, the show was canceled. And I sat in limbo, purgatory, if you will, deprived of the comedic greatness that was the Clerks animated series, deprived for years, until certain software made itself available, certain things made itself available. I could watch the episode that I'd missed. Not going to say how. It starts with a K and ends with a Azah. But when they announced that they were going to be releasing the Clerks animated series on home video, on DVD, I bought that thing immediately. And I've watched it so many times that even to this day, I crack jokes with my friends about it. We will still make jokes about those 6 episodes because they were so damned good. One of my favorite moments with Kevin Smith came from Comic-Con 2003. When he was there promoting Jersey Girl, of all things. We're in a room of 4,300 people. I went up to the mic to ask a question. I got in the queue to ask a question. Unfortunately, due to the fact that Smith loves to just run his mouth entirely, and we all know this, if you listen to him, you know this, I wasn't able to do it. So I go back kind of in a huff, my friend asks me what's wrong, I tell him, and he waits. He waits. And as soon as there's a moment of silence from the back of this room with 4,300 people, my friend simply belted out the question, "Could the Mataba virus kill the Grimace?" And Kevin Smith stops. He's cleaning off his glasses, and he looks up, and he just says, "Nothing could kill the Grimace." And when he dropped that line, there's maybe 10, 12 of us in the audience who jumped up and clapped and cheered, showing him that at least 12 people had seen Clerks the Animated Series and that it resonated with us. And they'd always wanted to bring this show back. They'd always wanted to. There were talks about doing a Clerks animated movie. There was the Clerks X DVD, the 10-year anniversary DVD, that had the lost scene from the funeral that was animated, and they've done this. And the cool thing, too, and I just want to point this out, is that the Kim Possible animators are the people who were behind this show. And so it was another thing that just really kind of added to the humor and to the subtlety that we got in this extremely short-lived but understandably canceled show that came out in the year 2000 on ABC of all places. But last summer, when I was at Comic-Con, I got to talk to Brian Christopher Halloran. I got to tell him how much his work has meant to me. It's just not only as a fan of Smith's work and his writing, but just as a filmmaker myself, and how much Clerks meant to me as a 15-year-old kid who saw it. And he told me, well, first off, he thanked me, but then he said, if you like the animated show, Kevin is trying to get it rebooted, but it's all about how well the Jay and Silent Bob reboot does on its tour. Well, apparently that's done well enough, because this is coming in from Slash from us a couple hours ago. Kevin Smith wants to revive the Clerks animated series at a streaming service, saying here that Kevin Smith is going back, to his roots with the 1995 cult classic Mallrats. He's got a whole script for that one done. He's got the new script for Clerks 3 as well. Anyway, so it says here that Consequence of Sound has an oral history of Clerks animated series in honor of the show's 20th anniversary. So weird to think. Before the story arrives, they learned of this interesting development regarding Clerks animated series reboot. Smith has long waited to return to the show, but the issue of who owned the rights always held him back. He says, figuring out who owns the effing thing was honestly the biggest struggle of the last decade because we didn't know who owned it. It was a Miramax Television product, and Miramax Television doesn't exist. And Miramax certainly doesn't exist in the way it did back then. It was a Disney thing, but it's never shown up anywhere on any effing Disney outlet. You're certainly not going to see it on Disney Plus or something like that. So for years, we were trying to figure out who owns that version of the Clerks cartoon. But here's my question. How do you not know who owns it? Because it was on Comedy Central. They did air it for a short period of time. It was only 6 episodes, but it was that in Futurama, like back to back, I think. And Futurama got rebooted by Comedy Central for a couple more seasons after it was so popular on Adult Swim. And many people, myself included, were like, why don't you just put it on Adult Swim and let it just run week after week, you know, do it as an interstitial show or something, and then put it out there? Because who doesn't want more Leonardo? I mean, just Leonardo. Who doesn't want more Alec Baldwin coming back into the show? Who doesn't want, you know, Jay Muse and Brian Christopher O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson and everyone else who was in that show? Like, we all want them coming back. But apparently, Scott Moiser, the longtime producer for Smith, I didn't even know this. He apparently went on and he directed last year's The Grinch. New one on me, to be honest with you. But apparently, Moiser has now figured out that it's Disney that still owns it. But again, going back to that previous point, how do you not know when Comedy Central was airing it? And that's a Paramount Viacom company. It's a Viacom company. So, like, how do you not? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Smith had anything to do with any of that. Anyway, he goes on to say Scott's point was like, right now they're trying to figure out how to put a bunch of people on the TV set or in the movie set post-quarantine, how to work together and still socially distance. But the one thing you could do right now, and you're doing today, I guarantee you, is that everyone can still make animation. Maybe we walk into Hulu and say, look, this is the story. Here we did these 6 episodes. Disney owns them. You guys aren't doing anything with them. We have all the designs and a bunch of people who'd like to be involved. The voice cast could come back. A bunch of the writers could come back and stuff. But all the heavy lifting has been done. It's been time tested and vetted. So all we have to do is turn the lights back on. You could always do any Clerks cartoon you want, but if you wanted to do the Clerks cartoon, the one that we all love, the one that would make the most sense to do, this is the very thin bridge we cross upon, maybe upon which maybe how this gets built. So here's the thing. Going through Hulu is going to have to be the case, right? Or putting on FX and then going through Hulu. That's clearly going to have to be that. Now, there may be a bit of a problem because Kevin was previously working on the Howard the Duck Show, which was one of the 4 Offenders series, the adult animated Marvel-based content that was going to be coming to Hulu through Marvel Television under Jeff Loeb. With Feige having taken over Marvel Television and Jeff Loeb basically out the door at this point, 2 of those shows, the Howard the Duck Show and I think MODOK, got canceled. No, that wasn't MODOK. It was Howard the Duck and the one that sounded really bad that got canceled. But still, I mean, that's a Hulu connection to Kevin Smith. Smith is now working on the He-Man reboot over at Netflix, doing the animation over there. So then here's my question. Would Disney be willing to sell the rights to the Clerks animated cartoon right now to, let's say, someone like Netflix? And I say that is a possibility because they just posted that because of this whole situation, they've lost an insane amount of money. And if Netflix wants to roll on in and get in on the Kevin Smith business, which they may want to because of the dedicated fan base that Smith has, why not work a deal with Disney to purchase the rights for the Clerks animated series? I'm just saying, like, that might be the best course of action. And if you think that Disney and Netflix don't talk about these sort of things, I'm hearing some reports about the rights for, like, the Netflix Marvel shows that could be moving away from Netflix here pretty soon. And then being someplace else, potentially like Hulu or something is what I've been hearing. So I have to wait and see on that one. But at the end of the day, the Clerks animated series is hysterical. And it's been a staple of like this of like jokes within my friend groups for like 20 years almost. And yeah, 20 years next month will be when it hits that. I mean, I would love to see this. I would advocate till the end of time to see this. It's funny. And if you haven't seen it, go find it, go and watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. And I hope to God they can make this thing work. I really hope to God they can go into Hulu and they can pitch it and they can get Hulu to get behind it, or to let it go to someone who might actually do well with that. And I think honestly, given the type of adult animated content over on Netflix, it would be very much in league with that versus being on Hulu. But at the end of the day, if like, I don't know, if Smith needs there to be some kind of like grassroots campaign or something to get out there, then by all means, let's do it. Like, let's effing do it. Let's do this stuff. I will be out there. I'll tweet. You know, do I need to send like packs of cigarettes to Disney? Or do I need to go and find you know, Mayor McCheese toys or Grimace toys and mail those off? You know, do I need to go and contact Alec Baldwin and see what he's up to these days? I don't know. But I do really think this is a good idea, and I think this would be great, and I can't wait if they do it. Please, please, please do it. But I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your theories, your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys haven't already, please do me a solid. Like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. And snoochie boochies, bitches.